morning.
Good morning.
Already 13 people with us. That is completely awesome. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Well, what are we doing?
Well, as you can tell, we had talked about being at the clinic this morning. But again, my word of acceptance has come into play. And kind of chaos happened. My son missed the bus, and my grandson is, one grandson is here, and the next one is coming in a little bit. So we will definitely do the walkthrough of the clinic, but that will be next week instead.
Yeah. So we changed things up a little bit. Instead, we're going to talk about the sort of how and why of our precision weight management program. We have a meeting today to finalize the website. So we will post the website
Hopefully soon.
below this, hopefully this afternoon or tomorrow or a month from now, whenever it gets done. Anyway, so let's pretend like...
Good morning, Sean.
Hey, Sean, good morning. Let's pretend that that I'm a patient. What are we going to do?
First
I told everybody last week I was pudgy.
So you're a good candidate.
So I'm a good candidate.
No, that's the wrong mentality. But so you would start by either, it depends. We do offer, a virtual option. So if you don't live near us, you could definitely still do this program. So it would involve meeting with a coach or a nurse. So there's a couple of us that would do an intake with you. If you're virtual, it'd be a little bit shorter because we're not going to be doing those scans we talked about, the body scan and the VO2 max. So it involves intakes, a couple different questionnaires.
A bunch of different questionnaires.
Yeah, actually, it's quite a few questionnaires. We'll offer 2 more brief questionnaires on the website just to kind of see where you're at, give you an idea. And those will take you about, I did it, I think, in like 3 or 4 minutes or something.
Yeah, on the website we have a questionnaire that sort of tries to assess your toxic burden. And the questions are like maybe a little not obvious. So one is, how do you feel when you walk down the soap aisle at the grocery store? Some people, like I had a woman the other day in the office, and she said, oh, well, when I was a teenager, I loved it. I mean, we had to take our bottles of perfume to school and spray it in the middle of the day because we didn't have a big enough cloud around us. But she says, now, oh, I can't walk down that aisle. It just makes me feel nauseous. And so, do strong smells make you feel uncomfortable, whether it's a scented candle or a perfume or a soap or whatever? Or what about car exhaust or gas fumes, or a lot of little questions like that, like trying to assess your body's sort of defensiveness around toxins. And then the other questionnaire is about your autonomic nervous system. Things like, do you startle easily? Like, when somebody walks up behind you and says, hi, do you go, oh, hi? Or do you go, huh? Are you like a long...
You do the latter.
Yeah, I tend to do the latter. That's right. And things like that. So when we get these assessments, that's sort of the starting point. And then there's a bunch of other assessments we do that are just trying to drill down onto your personal physiology so that we can hyper customize the results. I did the math. Go ahead. What?
No, hyper personalize your plan. And there's also a questionnaire of, your readiness too. Like, where are you at? What are you like able to change or willing to change at the moment? So then we can formulate a plan that actually fits in with your lifestyle and your goals and not our plan.
Yeah. That's part of the hyper personalization. And I did the math one time, and between the 7 physiological nodes and the 5 modifiable lifestyles and the antecedents, triggers, and mediators, these are all things that we ask questions about. In the end, there's like 100,000 possible combinations of all of those things. So when I say hyper personalized, it's hyper personalized. Although it can be hyper personalized, but people tend to have the same problems because we tend to live in the same polluted place, right?
Yeah, it's just I think nice for you as the patient to also see that. So that's why I think the questionnaires are so important in this process, because it's really eye-opening in some ways. And when you get those eye-opening aha moments, there's a motivation behind there, or there's a,
It was for me.
I didn't realize that, the coffee I get, the latte with the stuff in it has, like 50 ingredients in it. It maybe doesn't.
And the caloric density of a neutron star.
It depends where you get your coffee and what you're putting in it. But, those things really then make you second, kind of take a moment to, okay, I'm going to change this. And it's the one, those little things that all add up.
So my toxin, going through this program myself, my toxin is actually stress. My toxin is autonomic balance. My toxin is my own craziness.
It's your, your embedded
Drive.
pattern. Yeah.
My embedded pattern.
So
and so, being in fight or flight, a good friend of mine, Willie LaCroix, used to be the CEO of the hospital in Painesville. He had this big picture on his wall, and it was this serene duck pond, and it's all serene and beautiful. And then underneath, there's just this blur underneath the duck, and the caption says, "Act like a duck. Look calm and serene on the surface, but paddle like hell underneath." And that kind of defines me, right? I try to. People think I'm mellow, but I'm not. So
yeah, me too.
So what does that do? That increases your cortisol. Increased cortisol increases your insulin resistance. When you're insulin resistant, you store every extra calorie as fat, usually right in your viscera, in the worst possible place. Visceral fat is inflammatory. It's associated with everything bad. And then on top of that, I think our lighting makes us look green. I'm not sure.
It might.
But anyway,
lining up some things
and
to
then
keep you moving in the direction of not being on a 20-minute video.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. And then, in addition, when you starve yourself, when you say, I'm just going to starve myself today and lose some weight. Well, you do lose weight, but because of your insulin resistance, you don't burn fat, you burn muscle. And you make your muscle smaller, you become less lean and more fat. So we have to fix that insulin resistance before you can really lose weight. So that's the whole intake, a bunch of questionnaires. And then if you come to the office, there's some pretty fancy stuff we have. We have a very fancy BIA machine that measures your composition. Everybody says, I don't want to know my percent body fat. I don't even care about your percent body fat. We care about your lean body mass and your body water distribution, because those are markers of your metabolic engine, that's your muscles, and toxins and inflammation, that's how your water gets distributed. So that's primarily what we look at. And you get the percent body fat and all that other stuff, but that's not our primary focus. And then we do a test called a VO2 max, where we'll put you in track shoes, put you on the treadmill, put a big mask on you, and we measure how much oxygen and CO2 out, oxygen in, and that gives us a bunch of information. One really important and interesting piece of information is what's the amount of exercise that would be optimal for burning fat. And it turns out that that's not very much exercise. That's like brisk walking for most people. Now, a really fit athlete, which is a nice surprise. Everybody thinks that they got to go to the gym and kill themselves. No.
A nice moderate walk actually is my zone, and I'm like, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Because nothing more I love than a nice, moderate walk outside.
Yep. And it gives us other pieces of information too. Like we can measure. So we get 3 biological ages out of the BIA, and we get 2 biological ages out of the VO2 max. So we end up with 5. I guess I could do it that way. 5 biological ages for different aspects of your physiology. And so you can find, like for me, I'm like 40 years old from a VO2 max point of view. and I'm like 40 years old from a body water distribution point of view, and I'm like 50 years old from some other one, I can't think of it right now, but my metabolic age is 68. That's how old I am. It's right there because that's where I got my insulin resistance. And so, it sorts it out for us and helps us really understand what we're trying to achieve and how to really laser focus. And the marauding hordes are trying to get into the bedroom. The grandson's
Dogs,
wiggling the door and the dogs and everybody. So anyway, that's the intro. And now you got some toys to talk about.
I know, I'm trying to I'm looking at the time and he's great information.
Let's go, dude.
I know, I'm like, okay, we got to move on to the next subject now. So once we do the intake and all the testing, we actually have you come back for the next session to be like, here's your plan. Because there is things that we have to do behind the scenes and figure out where it's not like, a computerized program that spits out a generic thing. So when you come back, we'll have a plan ready for you, kind of like, this is your target exercise, target heart rate, and then a supplemental regimen. And the regimen is actually, there's different tiers, so you can decide what fits in with your budget. But some of the main things in the program.
Do the metabolic support first.
Okay.
I just want to talk a few
There
things.
you go.
Okay. Well,
He wants that first.
Well, only because, I don't know if you can see that, metabolic support. These are herbs and nutrients that actually activate GLP-1 and GIP. So GLP-1, that's like, all the new fancy rage things. Now, is it going to make you lose a pound a minute like getting an injection every week does? No. But it does activate those, and so it helps with everything that GLP-1 helps with, not just weight loss, but insulin resistance and heart health and brain health and kidney health and
the things
yada, yada,
that
yada.
are driving that weight gain as well.
And detox pathways, because that's really our focus, is how do we optimize detox pathways. And GLP-1, it turns out, is a major aspect of detoxification.
Yep. So you take 2 of these usually before dinner, or your largest meal of the day. Or with it.
AMPK?
Yep. No, I like this one. This one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, you talk about what you think about AMPK, and then I'll talk about it.
So I have a morning regimen that I take. It's actually the AMPK plus the 1. And then I do also add in a detox as well, even though these are helpful with detox. Like the AMPK charge, I do time restricted eating. So usually I don't eat until lunch or a little bit after lunch, just depending on my day at the clinic. But this it really helps me to maintain my energy, my focus, and allows me to be able to fast until noon.
Yeah. So AMPK...
And he's going to explain what it does.
Well, AMPK is a specific biochemical pathway. And...
maybe you want the bottle.
No. So it's got stuff in it that activates the AMPK pathway, which optimizes mitochondrial function. Mitochondria is where you convert your food into energy.
Energy, so it gives me energy.
And energy is really important for a number of things, not just running around in energy, but also detox, right? Detox is an energy dependent process, and there are little pumps on our cells. And as we are toxic and as we are run down, those little pumps on our cells aren't sucking nutrients out of your blood and into your cells. So you might have, you get a blood test at your doctor and it says, oh, you got too much B12, or at least enough B12. But it may be that B12 isn't getting into your cells and actually functioning properly the way it should inside your cells. So charging up your energy pathways helps increase the gradient. There should actually be tens to hundreds to sometimes thousands of times more nutrient in your cells than in your blood. Like vitamin C in your adrenal glands is 1,000 times higher in your adrenal cells than it is in your blood. And that happens because of these pumps. And by getting these pumps activated, we optimize cellular nutrition and make the whole machine work better. All right. So enough of that. I could go on, but
Yeah, it's great. Initially when I started taking it, so one of my issues is toxins. So it actually brought about like the first week or two. I was like, the first time I took it, I was like, no, I can't take that again. Like it just, yeah, it made me weak. It made me feel like something was going on with my blood sugar. I got dizzy, but I think it was because it was helping me to amp up my detoxification, which then all of a sudden released some toxins.
because
So
like,
then I had to take Tox Binder, or Ultra Binder, and to kind of bind to those toxins to help my body eliminate them, because I'm not the best at eliminating them. So once they're circulating, I sometimes need an aid to come in and help my body to get rid of them.
yep,
You want the protein powder?
whatever you like.
Well, let's do the protein powder, because that's one more in like the base program.
Yep. Go for it.
That's your product. I don't take that. So you talk about that one.
Okay.
And
Well,
why
this
you
this
like
is a
it.
protein powder, so big deal. It's just a protein powder, except it has a full-on high potency multivitamin, multimineral, and extra stuff in it for your mitochondria and for detoxification. So if you look at the list on here, there's like too much stuff to read. It's ridiculous. But
Yeah, it's like,
acetyl L-carnitine, acetyl L-cysteine, lipoic acid, green tea extract, mixed tocopherols, broccoli seed extract, which is really good for detox. All of that stuff's good for detox. So anyway, this is it's not really a meal replacement. It's not meant to be. Although in the morning what I do is I take a scoop of this and a scoop of a couple of other things and throw some olive oil in it and shake it up and drink it. And that's basically my start to the day instead of coffee. I guess if putting butter in your coffee is bulletproof coffee, my start to the day must be nuclear coffee or something. But anyway, the point is, it's just another way to get the protein you need to preserve muscle mass. Remember earlier I talked about how, especially for people with insulin resistance, they lose muscle mass when they fast. So this is a way to preserve muscle mass, optimize detox pathways, optimize mitochondrial function, and each one of these products attacks the problem at a slightly different angle. So, it all works synergistically together to really bring things together. And I am really fighting not coughing right now.
I can tell his eyes are watering. To give him a moment. So those are the main things kind of in our base
I feel like I'm
program.
an escapee from a TB ward. I've been coughing for like 3 months. I don't know, how long has it been? It feels like a year.
It's been since around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So the one, this little guy I mix with the AMPK charge in the morning in a shot glass, and I take them both. This is in our kind of a little bit higher up tier, but do you want to explain a little bit about the one?
The One was named The One because Dr. Chris Shade, who started Quicksilver Scientific, said if you were going to do one thing for anti-aging, it would be The One. And so
He had me on anti-aging.
yeah. So BioPQQ. PQQ is a supplement that helps with mitochondrial biogenesis. So we already talked about mitochondria, or the energy factories inside the cells. Well, PQQ helps you make more of them. And then there, boy, this is tiny writing. Coenzyme Q10, resveratrol, Delta Gold tocotrienols, and
phosphatidylcholine.
Yeah, thank you. Phosphatidylcholine. So these bottled ones, these are liposomal. And what that means is you hold them in your mouth and they get absorbed directly through your oral mucosa, the skin in your mouth. And they when you swallow a pill, it gets in your intestines and it gets taken up into your blood and directly to your liver. So that's called the first pass. Well, this avoids the first pass, so you don't get it. It doesn't get broken down by your liver when you swallow it. So it goes around immediately to all the cells in your body without going through the liver and starting the breakdown process. Same with that other big bottle of AMPK charge. So it's kind of special. You may have heard of some of these ingredients before, but they're packaged in a very special way to be immediately absorbed through your oral skin, your oral mucosa, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably more than you really wanted to know.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Any questions, or for those that are still with us, or maybe those that have hopped on near the end here? Otherwise, we'll probably wrap things up.
Yep.
And yeah, I think we have some videos too of the body scanners. Maybe I'll post those so you can kind of see what it looks like. The body scan only takes 3 minutes. The VO2 max takes a little bit longer, but
Yeah. All right. Well, so I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
We're obviously very passionate about this project.
And it's the 31st. So next month, we're going to be talking about relationships.
Yep.
So a little change from the weight management program, although we'll probably sprinkle a little bit of that in too, just because it's still a new program and we're getting it up and running. But we're going to be talking about relationships. And I want to leave you with this little tiny idea. Bring it all to me, says Joanne Marquardt. Yeah. Okay, Joanne. I think we have a meeting later today with you anyway, so we'll see you then.
Have a fab weekend.
Oh yeah, we will.
You too, Barb.
All love is a manifestation of self-love. So think about that while we prepare for our month of talking about relationships. All right. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later. Except for I can't push that button right to save my life.